everyone, and welcome back to the RedBeard Outdoors podcast. This is Jonathan, your host here at RedBeard Outdoors, and I've got a great one today. Another awesome conversation with a buddy of mine. His name is Haxen Hunt on Instagram, but his name is Braxen, and he's an awesome guy that just loves being outdoors. Grew up in the outdoors here in Utah, and I won't say much more than that until you listen to the conversation. But thank you for everyone that is joining me again. For anyone that's new, welcome. Thanks for tuning in. Hope you enjoy this podcast. And everyone that has been a consistent listener, I really, really appreciate your support. I can't express that enough. Thank you so much. And yeah, so here at RedBeard Outdoors, for anyone new, I have three main pillars that I talk about, three main ideas, things that encompass my life. One is faith and family, all wrapped into one, fitness, and the outdoors. Those three things are my life. If I'm not doing one, I'm doing one or the other. And so I share that with people because I know the happiness that this has brought to me, the success up to this point in my life that this has brought to me, and I want the same for you. I want you to feel that happiness, success, healthiness, everything that goes along with being happy and healthy, having a smile on your face, even during these trying times. So that's what I focus on here at RedBeard Outdoors. You can also go find me on Instagram at red.beard.outdoors. I post there daily. I want to share with people just the normal day-to-day stuff that goes on in the house and how we incorporate all three of those things, family, fitness, and the outdoors, every single day. So go follow me over there. I also have a couple other links below. I'll discuss those a little bit more. You should go check out those companies. They're companies that I personally use and that I work with. They're amazing people, great products, and that's why I recommend them, simply because I use them and I trust them. And you should go check them out if you're into any of those three topics, family, fitness, and the outdoors. Go take a look. Now, without further ado, hope you enjoy this amazing conversation with my buddy Braxen. And yeah, here we go. All right, so we got here Braxen from Haxen Hunt. If you guys have seen him on Instagram, you should follow him if you're not. And he puts out some great content. He goes and reviews bows and does a lot more than that as well on his channel on YouTube as well. So you should go look him up at Haxen, Haxen Hunt. But yeah, let's hear from you, Braxen. Who are you? What do you like to do, and why bow hunting?
Yeah, well, I'm stoked to be here with you and finally get the opportunity to have a good conversation with you. So I'm Braxen. A lot of people literally just think my name's Haxen, so I just kind of roll with it and don't correct anybody. And yeah, I'm just in Utah, and bow hunting's just kind of been my thing since I think I bought my first bow when I was like 11. Shopped on eBay for months trying to find the best deal and found them for like $200. And ever since then, I mean, it's just been nonstop. I mean, that's where all my money goes, all my time. When I met my wife, I told her, I was like, you know what? Hunting is a big part of me. Bow hunting's a big part of me. It takes a lot of time. So we're gonna get you on board and get you a bow and see if you like it. And she had fun with it for a little bit, but then now it's just kind of stuck to just me. But I mean, my whole life is archery and just bow hunting, and just I really don't do a whole lot of other things. But
That's awesome. Yeah, and you can tell, so when I was getting into archery, just in the last couple of years, I came across your channel and a couple other guys. And there's a lot of people out there that are just trying to sell you stuff and trying to get you to buy from their sponsors, et cetera, et cetera. And I liked that you were real about it. You obviously weren't bought out by any companies. You gave your feedback, which obviously yours is a little bit different than mine because you've got that 30-inch draw length with them, which I'm jealous of. But yeah, I do love the reviews and everything. But what is Haxen? Like, where did that come from?
So yeah, I get that question a lot. Haxen, I mean, the name itself came from, so my wife's name is Haley, and then I'm Braxen. And so I stuck it together, and originally it was pronounced Haxen, and everybody kept saying Haxen. I'm like, no, it's Haxen. So I corrected everybody. And then I'm like, actually, Haxen's way cooler. And so that kind of came to be. And I just planning on trying to come up with some, some platform to be able to share my love for the archery world. And I'm glad you kind of brought up that I don't have a single sponsor with Haxen. I don't have discount codes for anything. I don't have any exclusive deals with anyone. It's literally just me. I mean, people are like, oh, what do you do to buy the bows to review or whatever? And I've been really grateful for my local archery shop, TNT Archery. Terry that owns that's been super awesome. I went in one day, I was like, dude, you cool if I just like yell at a camera like for a few hours, just talk about bows? He's like, sure, what the heck? Like, that's kind of weird. And sure enough, I mean, it just started rolling. And I mean, it's not big by any means, but it's definitely reached further than I expected right off the bat. And yeah, I just try to be as authentic as possible. A lot of people throw, oh, you're a Hoyt fanboy, because I mean, I do like shooting my Hoyts. I got nothing to do with Hoyt. If Bowtech came out with a bow that felt better in my hand, I'd buy that in a heartbeat, or Matthews or whatever. But I kind of try to pride myself in to not being a sellout. Not, I mean, there's no harm in somebody trying to, get a sponsorship. That way they can do that as their full-time job and stuff like that. But for me, it's been my, best goal to try to do it myself and try to get the content that people like me want to see. Like, I kept seeing content, I'm sponsored by so and so, go buy this, go buy that, use my discount code, go get this, go this. I'm like, no, just go buy my stuff so I can buy a bow for myself and review it. But I mean, then that kind of what led to my giveaways. I'm sure you've seen, I think the last like 3 years I've given away 10 plus bows just funded by me. And I mean, it gets expensive. I think my like 2019 or 2020 tax return, I was working on my expenses, and I was like, oh, I spent like 40 grand on archery stuff in a year. Whoops, my bad. But that's kind of been my passion, is just to get as many people into archery as I can. I mean, I didn't grow up with money by any means. I mean, a $200-$300 bow was as expensive as I could even dream about. And so I've always just told myself, you know what, if I can give away 100 bows a year, like, I'm going to make it happen. I don't know how, I don't know why, I don't know where, but it's going to happen. So that's kind of what and how. And a long story there. That's kind of how Haxen started.
That's awesome. So it's a combination of you and your wife's name, and you just kind of ran with it. I like it. And I know you guys, you don't have, well, you've got a fur baby, don't you? Do you have a puppy?
Yeah, we a couple years ago we got a German short hair pointer and got him trained pheasant hunting and stuff, and then he's kind of got some separation anxiety, so we got him a friend. We just got oh my gosh, what is it, Australian Shepherd. He's probably 7 months old now, but yeah, one of my old buddies had both of his parents, and he's like, hey, I bred my dogs, I got puppy. I'm like, dude, I'll buy one, I know how good your dogs are. So got one off him, and it's just been chaos ever since.
Well, that's awesome. Cool. So combining your name with your wife's, which is that's awesome to begin with. And it's cool that she was interested to get into shooting a little bit with the bow at the beginning, but obviously, she found out that's not for her. But let's start from the beginning there. Why did you even get into bow hunting at, you said 11 when you bought your first bow? I think you mentioned on one of your videos it was a diamond or something like that you
Yeah,
could just extend the draw length and change the weight and everything. It was super adjustable. You still have that bow, don't you?
I do. It's actually just sitting right under me. It's
That's
an old
awesome.
Diamond Edge, and I remember the day I placed my bid on eBay. I mean, 11 years old, spending, I think it was like $249. I mean, that's a lot of money. I mowed a lot of lawns. I did a lot of chores, saved up, and I bought it. And I mean, I waited outside for the UPS truck to come on by, drops it off, and I open up the box. I'm stoked out of my mind. I'd ordered it. It was like 40 to 50 pounds, and dropped back and it was like 20. I was like, what the heck? So I contact the seller and they were like, oh, our bad. We sent you the wrong one. So then I had to ship it back and I had to wait another couple of weeks. This was before 2-day shipping was a thing. And sure enough, the UPS guy came out again and he knew I was waiting for it because I saw him every other day. And he's like, dude, here's your bow. Like, he must do something archery. He's like, been patient waiting for this one. I don't know how he knew what was going on. Maybe my parents thought, I don't know. I was just a kid in a candy store waiting for Santa Claus to drop it by. And it kind of all started with my dad. He did archery for a little bit growing up. I think I'd gone on like one archery hunt with him, but hunting overall, how old was I? I was probably like 7 or 8. We had done a rifle hunt. So it was my dad, me, my 2 other siblings. We went out and hiked out in the middle of nowhere, and he ended up shooting a little 3-point, and I've got that mounted on my wall downstairs. And that kind of sparked it, I guess. Like, I just remember that being the coolest moment of my life. And so he helped me, he took me out, and I mean, he's just one of those weekend warrior hunters, nothing super dedicated to it. And I just kind of took it over and took it to a whole new level. And this last year I told him, I was like, Dad, we got to get you a tag. It'd been like 20 years since he got his own tag. And I got him a rifle tag. I'm like, I'll do all the work. He's like, I ain't gutting it. I ain't dragging it out. I'll show up and shoot it. That's it. All right, Dad, deal. So I went out the night before the opener, the rifle hunt, and found this little 3x4. Like, all right, I'll be there in the morning, and took him out and shot him 300 yards 5 minutes after the sun was up. And I took care of it all, and he was stoked. But
That's awesome.
So I'm just jabbering around all over the place.
No, you're good. So no, I remember seeing that, and that's a cool experience. My dad's not much of a hunter himself. He grew up kind of doing it a little bit, but I grew up in North Carolina. He was from Kentucky, and it was a lot of rifle hunting, which for me, I don't know, like I tried it a couple times and it felt like target practice. I didn't like that. I'm a big animal lover, and so I'm all about the fair chase and everything. I didn't like having a salt lick down one shooting lane and corn down the other one. Like it just didn't feel good. And so I didn't get into that much out east, but coming out here, it's a whole different ball game, and I love it. And even if you don't see animals that are within range, like just being able to get out and see different mountain ranges and how they change every single season of the year, it's an awesome experience. But going back to, so your dad got you into it, and then now you're kind of coming full circle to where now you're dragging your dad out when I'm sure he used to drag you out, right?
Yep, exactly.
That's awesome. So, but he's obviously not shooting his bow anymore. His shoulders are a little too old for that.
Yeah. I've actually got his bow sitting in here somewhere. It's an old like 1985 Martin Lynx. That thing is like, it feels like you're pulling back a 120-pound bow. Like, it's awful. But for some reason on the scale, it still shows 70. I'm like, Dad, how did you shoot this thing? And I shot it a couple times just messing around, but I'm like, my 80-pound bow is 10 times easier than that old dinosaur. And he always makes fun of me. Dude, you gotta go take out the Martin Lynx and shoot a deer with that. See how that goes. Like, I don't think I'd hit anything.
You're like, I might as well use a recurve. Okay.
Exactly. Spear at that point.
Right. Yeah. Jump on the deer's back at that point. Yeah. That's funny.
Yeah.
So cool. Well, tell me a little bit more about that. So you grew up kind of in the outdoors. Were you from Utah?
Yeah. So born and raised in St. George, Utah. So just right on the Arizona-Utah border. Sunny St. George. I mean, today it was 70 degrees, mid-January. Moving to northern Utah come March, so I'm a little sad about that, but it'll I guess we'll get used to the snow.
Yeah, I was gonna say, what part of northern Utah?
We're gonna be in Eagle Mountain area. So my
No
work's
way.
moving up there. Yeah, so we're we're just building a house there right now and get up there come spring.
Cool. And you're building an archery range in your backyard, right?
Oh, something. I mean, as big as my yard is, I'll get a good 10, maybe 15 yards if I get lucky. So I've got plans in the future to get some land to actually make something happen to have a big range.
That's awesome. Yeah. So Eagle Mountain's not too far from me, so I might be bugging you a little bit more now that you're going to be up here. But
Oh, let's do it. Let's do it.
heck yeah, that's awesome. So you grew up St. George, which it's too hot for me most of the year. I know quite a few people that live down there, and they love it. I I don't do heat very well. I just don't. I prefer not to have to deal with that if I can avoid it. But so you grew up in St. George. Did like growing up, was there more than just hunting involved with your family as far as the outdoors, or was it mainly just hunting season and that was it?
We did do a lot of camping. We were all involved in scouting. My dad was always our scoutmaster, and I mean, I've been on, I can't even tell you how many campouts and camping in snow caves and going on the big long backpacking hikes. And I feel like that's sparked more interest at a young age where it was like, hey, just 10-year-old kid packing a 40-pound backpack, what felt like 40 miles, but now that I come to find out the trail was only like 2 miles long, into some hot pockets, some hot springs. That was always like my absolute favorite camp out. And now it's like kind of taken full circle into the hunting where, throw a 110-pound backpack now and go hike a good 10, 15, 20 miles somewhere in the middle of nowhere. But yeah, St. George, we did. I grew up playing soccer, so I was always outside doing that. I blew my knee out a couple times, and so I finally quit sports. I just figured it's not worth having old man knees for when I'm only 16, 17 years old. uh, and I mean, but that's basically, I did just live outside. I was kind of just one of those punk kids. All my buddies out, airsoft guns, paintball, watching deer, hiking. I don't know. I never played video games or anything. I was just always outside playing in the dirt somewhere.
That's awesome. So yeah, and I love that. That's it seems to be a big thing, out here. It's a little different out east. It's more mud and stuff like that that you're dealing with. But I really do love it out here. It's an awesome place to go if you're looking for adventure. And it sounds like you had quite a few awesome experiences growing up. Now, you go full circle into hunting and applying that into hunting. Do you prefer the backpack style hunting, or do you prefer truck or RV, or I guess trailer style hunting? What do you prefer?
Well, it's going to have to start changing due to some new laws, but my overall favorite thing that I loved doing is setting out an old salt block, hiking somewhere, set a salt block, throw a camera, and just kind of study an area. I've never once actually killed a animal that I had on camera that I was trying to go after. I always got trigger happy, and first buck walked in, I'd fling an arrow at. But um, that was always kind of my go-to. I think it was kind of just due to my grandpa. So we've got a cabin here in Utah in the mountains, and my grandpa had gotten cancer. What was it, 2005, 2008, somewhere around there, and he did a lot of hunting, but he hadn't been able to hunt too much. And he had just built this Jeep Rubicon all jacked up, and he was a big Moab guy. So we took his Jeep out in the hills where our cabin is, and found this random spot. He's like, I guarantee we'll find some deer in here. And I think since 2012, I've had a camera on that tree since then. And he had passed away, I think in 2012, 2011, somewhere in there. And so that was always a special moment for me. Anytime I get in a stand, I just always remember going to that spot with my grandpa. I usually sit in that stand at least once a year, sometime just hanging out. But there's good deer, good elk. Almost had a 370 bull last 2020 in that exact spot. I had a tag there, and Would have been cool, but it's too thick, so it's hard to shoot. But yeah, that's kind of what I've done. And then recently, as I get a little bit older and just start, money gets a little bit easier to take some time off of work and stuff. Going in for spot and stock or camping, or just pile up in a trailer and sleep overnight and just go hike around has kind of been what I've been doing lately.
That's awesome. Yeah, it's that law about the trail cameras, it's an interesting one. I feel like it's the same thing with like lighted knocks and using the Garmin sight and things like that. Um, it's just people dragging their feet, and unfortunately, I know I reached out to my representative and said that I wasn't up for that. I don't want that to happen, but apparently not enough people reached out, and so we can't use trail cameras anymore, which I hadn't quite gotten into it. My buddy did it, and so I'd go out and put him up with him. But I was looking at getting into stuff like that, and it's interesting because even if you do have the cell cameras, like I don't know anyone that can teleport. I don't know about you, but by the time you get up to your camera, that buck or that bull is gone. Like they're miles away at that point. They move so fast. So anyway, that's just me. I don't know. I don't see a reason why that had to happen, but now we just gotta work on getting that back. That's
Yeah.
unfortunate for people like you that were using salt blocks and stuff like that to like you said, study the area, get to know where the animals were and where you needed to be so you could be the most ethical and efficient possible, right? Um,
Mhm.
but that's awesome. So you grew up in the outdoors, being a boy, you love being outside. Your family was all about hunting and camping. With your current now, I consider a husband and wife and fur babies a family, but even just a husband and wife, what do you guys do to keep it simple when you're not hunting? How do you guys get out? I mean, you're in St. George, 70-degree weather in January, so I imagine you guys spend some time outdoors.
Yeah, yeah, we try to get out, especially with the dogs. The German short hair, it's like owning a bottle of caffeine that never stops moving. He is a bottle of joy, but oh my gosh, I didn't realize that if you didn't work him out, he literally goes insane. You can look in his eyes and like, dude, you are on crack. Like, what is going on? So yeah, we get out, just something as simple as just a walk around our neighborhood or going for a longboard ride with them. I kind of use them as my little mushing dogs, just pull me on the board. Um, do some hiking, some camping. During like spring, fall, when it's a little bit cooler but warm enough, we like to go just north of St. George. There's a little recreation area, Pine Valley. We just go to the reservoir there and throw a barbecue on the ground and just have fun time with a couple friends, eat some food and fish a little bit. But pretty simple. I mean, we're really we're pretty simple creatures over here. Um, do a lot of traveling. Um, since we've been married, I mean, I went to the Philippines right before we got married, and then we went to Indonesia and Singapore a couple years ago. My wife's family's in Tennessee, so we go out there, and in Florida, so we go out there. Just kind of, I don't know. I love traveling. I love seeing the world. I love experiencing new things and seeing new cultures. And I mean, kind of the coolest experiences. I've got one of my older brothers. He served an LDS mission in the Philippines, so he came back and had a couple of his companions. They got together and built a business and made the weirdest videos, but it blew up in the Philippines due to just speaking their language. So I guess you could call him the Justin Bieber of the Philippines, something like that. And so we went on tour with them there, and just seeing the culture of the people and literally being treated like royalty was just insane. Just the coolest, most humble people. So I've always just tried to do my best in bringing that humility back with me. And same with when we went to Indonesia. We had been to this. It's the island's called Lombok. It's kind of like it's next to Bali, but not as, I guess, travel to it like Bali. And we stayed at this Airbnb, and we had like a private chef that cooked breakfast, lunch, and dinner for us. And we just loved this dude, like the funniest guy you could ever meet. So we were like, we're gonna surprise this guy. We're gonna go to his house, meet his family. So we talked to our host guy or whatever. I can't even remember what he was. And he led us over to this guy's house. And we went to this village in the middle of nowhere. I mean, there's even my parents, my mom, my dad are on mopeds. Like my mom's just mobbing this moped down this mountain. My wife's on the back of my moped. We're just hauling butt. And we get to this little tiny village, and everybody starts like freaking out. They're like, what are these aliens? Like my wife's got blonde hair, my mom's got blonde hair, my little brother's blonde hair, blue eyed. We're just cruising this little village, and all of a sudden, like it just gets bigger and bigger. Just big crowd of people just start funneling around us. We're like, what is going on? And our chef was like, this is the first time like a white person has ever been to our village. So like the mayor comes in, they're like trying to talk to us to like translate. We're like, what the heck? The kids are scared of us, like thinking that we're some crazy aliens, but they were just the most humble people, just so nice to talk to. And I mean, I don't know, just hearing those backstories, just I'm totally rambling off. This has nothing to do with hunting, but I guess my life just kind of what I look to bring into my own life, to show people that I care, show people, as much love as I can, and bring those different attributes that I see wherever I travel. I'm rambling.
No, you're good. So, well, I mean, the three main things that I focus on here at, RedBeard Outdoors on the Instagram and the podcast is family and faith kind of wrapped into one, fitness and the outdoors. And the outdoors, obviously hunting but backpacking, but you've traveled to places that I've never been. So I'm actually really enjoying hearing these experiences. I mean, that's being outdoors. And that's why I like to ask people those questions. Like, how do you incorporate that into your family and getting outdoors, not just hunting? Like that's very prevalent here in Utah, but something as simple as like what you were saying, just taking your dogs for a walk around the park, taking them out and meeting your neighbors. Like how many people don't know who they live next to, and just getting out and walking around the neighborhood can make a difference in someone else's life. Like what you were saying, spreading that happiness to other people and just having a conversation with people makes a difference. But yeah, just something as simple. And I try and stress that to people. It doesn't have to be complicated. You don't have to have the newest gear or the best gear to go backpacking. Like just go for a 3-mile hike, or if you've never been hiking, go for half a mile. And then if you stand that well enough to go for another mile, it doesn't have to be complicated. It really doesn't. And so, and especially now where we're being, locked down, not locked down, mask, no mask, like all this stuff that's going on, just sharing a smile with someone makes a difference. Getting outside when you're being told, like you got to stay away from other people and you need to be inside as much as possible. Getting outside makes a big difference in people's lives. And so that's why it's, I don't feel like you're rambling at all. I feel like that's super important to, you bring that humility back from these other countries that I don't know enough about, but it sounds like a third world country, that you come back. Like I served in Mexico. I went to Mexico City and the suburbs and then the surrounding states, and it's super poor compared to what we have. And they don't have air conditioning. They don't have heat. Most of the time our water heater didn't work. So on the cold months, we were taking cold showers. Like you just kind of have to deal with it. We broke all the rules that our parents told us not to mix electricity and water. And we'd take these irons and literally stick them in the water to heat the water up so that we could shower. Like things like that you're like, but my mom said that's not a good idea. You learn that stuff when you travel. And so I think that's cool. I honestly, I didn't know that you were into traveling. I just thought you went to work, you went to TNT archery, and then you came home and spent time with your wife and fur babies, and then did it all over again. Like I didn't realize that you were into travel. So I think that's pretty cool.
Well,
go ahead.
what was that?
I was just going to say,
Oh,
what gets you into what got you into travel? Like, where did that come from?
um, it's I've always liked exploring. Like, it could literally be exploring a cave in my backyard somewhere when I was growing up to exploring a complete random spot on the map. And that's kind of what happened with our Indonesia trip. My little brother, I mean, he's just the kid just lives the life. I mean, he's what is he, 22 now? And he's been to more countries and places than most people ever dream about. And he lives in Hawaii right now. He's just a beach bum, just living the life. And so he's always kind of been our go-to, like, hey dude, where are we going this time? And he'll throw a pin at a map basically and just no expectations. Let's just, go have fun. There's been good times, there's been scary times. I was in Indonesia, me, him, and my other little brother, we tried to go surfing in these, and none of us are surfers. I mean, we're Utah kids. And we get on this little bivy boat thing and get out there, and the guys don't speak English, and so they're like, oh, waves. So we jump in. They're like 8 to 10 foot waves, like massive, on a coral reef, and we got crushed, broke all three of our surfboards. Our parents aren't there. My wife's on a separate island. Like, crap, like we got to get back to the boat because the boat couldn't make it to shore. And so we somehow lived through that, battle scars and everything. And I got a big scar down my back from pounding against the coral. But little brother's got coral stabbed into his feet. So we're just kind of just, I don't know, just adventurous. And my wife's the same way. And then that's kind of what drives her, is just learning new places, getting new experiences, meeting new people. The beach is her happy place. So I've got to buy a cabin for me somewhere in the mountains, and I got to buy a beach house for her at some point. Keep her happy. But yeah, I mean, it's just always an ongoing flow. Just go with the flow, have fun. And I tell people, people think that it's so expensive to travel, and it's really not. We flew to Indonesia and stayed there for 2 weeks, and for my wife and I, it was $2,000. Like, we just it's not as expensive as you would expect. I mean, you can either go buy a boat or you can go travel the world, one of the two. So um, that's kind of what I've been trying to do. My best is just, going traveling on coupons, just making it cheap and having fun and creating those experiences. And when we have kids, that's kind of what our goals are, is just, travel. So many people are like, oh, just wait till you have kids, you can't travel. Like, oh no, my kids are going to be on an airplane, probably skydiving before they're 12 years old, just having a blast.
That's awesome. Yeah. So, and that's key too. And it's cool that your guys are already thinking about that, because they're, you know, well, first of all, I do want to touch on the whole cabin and the beach thing. Uh, I don't like the beach for obvious reasons. I'm pale. I'm a ginger. Me and the sun just don't go well together. I've had all of my worst sunburn experiences have been on the beach. Now that's my fault because, I don't apply sunscreen like I'm supposed to, but yeah, I'd much rather be up in the mountains. And so it was funny because I told my wife, was like, hey, you're turning 30 this year. What do you want to do? I was like, well, you've always said you want to go to Hawaii. Let's go to Hawaii. And she's like, you don't like the beach. Why do you want to go to Hawaii? I said, oh, there's beautiful mountains up there. And she was like, is there something there that you can hunt? I'm like, maybe.
Possibly.
I mean, there's, pigs and axis deer and she's like, I'm not going. But that's kind of what, that's the same way. Like, I want a cabin up in the mountains, and she's like, okay, but we also need to have something like a lake, or something with water and the sun, somewhere warm. But that's funny. But I agree, it's kind of all where your priorities are. I prioritize with our kids. Like, a lot of people are like, oh, I can't be as active because I have kids. I'm like, that's what they make front backpacks for, or front packs for, like I have pictures of my son being like 3 months old, bundled up like a snowman, and he was like eating one of my hoodie strings, which I didn't realize until I took the picture. But like, this bald baby out in, hiking the mountains with me, because that's what I did on my day off. And I'm like, I'm not stopping just because I had a baby, and now they're older and they sometimes fight me because they know they're going to get tired and they don't like that feeling. But once I get them out in the mountains, like, they're just free and they love it. Um, and if you want to travel, it's very possible. It's not as convenient. I 100% agree with that. It's not as easy. You can't just drop everything. Like, you have to think about diapers, or you have to think about having snacks for the kids. You can't just pack your own water. You got to carry your kids' water. Like, you still need to make it enjoyable for them. But it's possible. It's just a matter of where your
Yeah.
priorities are. So I think
Yeah.
that's cool that you guys have prioritized that between you and your wife, and that you guys are on the same page with that. What do you do for work? I've seen a little bit here and there, but what do you do for work?
I build car washes, I guess is the easiest way to say. I work for a local company, just a couple St. George guys. It's Tag and Go Car Washes is the name of it. And they just created building these washes, and I came in doing just managing a location, was it 4 years ago or something, and then just started getting hands on, enjoying fixing stuff, and then I kind of moved to maintenance, and then I started building their new locations, and then it just kind of led to there, and now I just travel around and install car wash equipment.
That's awesome. I wouldn't even know where to start with that. I can barely get my tire in the little rail to make sure it goes through properly. Like, I can't even think about building one.
Yeah, I had no idea about anything. Like, I knew nothing mechanical. I literally nothing, and just had fun just learning it. And I got trained on one site, and then kind of a little bit more on the second site, and then the third site I 100% built by myself with a couple apprentices that were just my grunts to help me do it. But yeah, the car wash is a funny place. You meet and see some people that you didn't realize were on the earth. For some reason, car wash brings out either the best or the worst in people. It keeps it interesting, that's for sure.
Have you ever had someone try and walk through it while it's on? Okay.
Definitely with the windows down, at least in their car. I mean, I'm sure there's been people that ask like, "Hey, can we walk through?" Probably for making a TikTok or something. But no, yeah, we get people that, like the other day they own a couple like self-serve car washes, like the touchless, and then they have the tunnels and stuff. And at the touchless one, this lady decided to take this massive U-Haul into the touchless. It's like a 7-foot clearance, and this is like a 12-foot U-Haul. She makes it in the bay because the bay is tall enough, but the like gantry that moves around the vehicle, it hits the top of the U-Haul. And we had just put this machine in like probably a month before, a couple $100,000 worth of equipment, and it hits and she just panics. So she just puts it in drive and just starts mobbing forward. And her U-Haul is doing a wheelie, burning out in this bay. And she puts it back in reverse and then hits drive again and just pounds it, crushes this whole unit, just gone. Everything, total loss. Makes it out and drives off. And she paid with a credit card, so we were able to find her. But I met with the guy that was replacing it all, that we buy the equipment from, and he's like, "Dude, this is the worst I've ever seen." So it just like happens. Just, I don't know.
Oh,
It keeps my job interesting. That's for sure.
yeah, keeps you in business.
That's right. Keeps you with the job.
That's awesome. Cool. Well, I want to ask you, because and anyone that shot a bow, like, I shoot a higher poundage because I got to make up for my lack of draw length. But you shoot an 80-pound or 70-pound, which is still a lot. People forget that that's a lot of weight because it's so common now. But how do you keep your shoulders healthy? Like, I know you're not well, actually, I don't know. Are you a gym rat that's just kind of in the closet and I don't know about that? Or like, how do you keep your shoulders healthy?
I used to do 2 a days before I got married, and then the day I got married, I lost like 30 pounds of muscle. So, and I've been to the gym like once or twice since then. Me and my college roommates, we were up at BYU Idaho, and they had an incredible gym there, and so we just went all day every day. I was paying attention to my food intake. I was pounding as many calories as I could because I was burning so much, and ended up gaining quite a bit of muscle. But then I got married, and that all went to crap. So I've got a gym in my house. I've used it a total of like 4 times. So I need to get back into that. I keep telling myself today's the day, and I'll do a little bit, and then I'm like, oh crap, I got stuff to do, and I don't prioritize it. I obviously want to, I need to, but my shoulders, as far as keeping those healthy, it's like I feel like I don't do too much. So I've got my main bow that I hunt and shoot most of the time with is 80 pounds, and I know my limit. I won't go past my limit. I've got one bow. It was in the 90s, and I could do 2 or 3 and just call that good. But it's more of just practice. Back in the day, I had one of those Acu bows to just help. But I think if you're consistent with just shooting your bow and focusing on your form, I remember when I was first starting, my form was awful, like blow your shoulder out every time. But I just had gotten used to it or something, and so now I try to remember a good form that everybody's kind of built different. So some form's not going to feel as strong as something else compared to, if somebody's 300 pounds versus, I mean, I'm a solid 155 pounds. So I'm just this little guy. I feel like I don't know, I feel like I'm really good at knowing my limit. Some people will push, and feel like it's going to help and it's going to strengthen them. But that's only going to hurt you if you're going to go past what your body can handle. Your body can only handle so much, especially if you don't train. Like I don't train at all, so I know I can't keep going. And so I'll drop down to my 70-pound bow or even a 60-pound bow, or I shoot my wife's 35-pound bow just for kicks and giggles. And so I think that would probably be the best advice I could get, is just know your limit.
Yeah. Yeah. So that and in technique, because like what you mentioned with technique, because it is different. Like some people you see keep their elbows super high and that works for them. I feel like I'm somewhere in between. And I do remember like so a couple years ago when I got my first bow, I knew I wanted to have that heavier draw length or draw weight. And so I got the 80-pound limbs, and they come in hot. I think it came in at like 86 pounds. And I was like, I couldn't draw back. And I'm in the gym every day. Like I feel like I've got strong shoulders, I've got strong back muscles. I couldn't draw it back. So I had to kind of eat my ego for a little bit, and I turned it down to 65 pounds, and I just 15 reps a day, and my shoulders were sore as all get out. But eventually it was a lot better, and making sure I had that good form. I had people watching me. I videoed myself and sent it out to a couple people. Having a good coach is also key. I mean, you grew up with it, so you've got that experience. But if you're just getting into it, having that as well. And so you mentioned you've got an 80-pound bow that you currently hunt with, but don't you have something special coming in the mail? Or did you
Yeah,
already
I
get it?
got the haven't got it yet. Still waiting for the good old RX-7, and that's going to be, I ordered it in 80 as well, so we'll see if it's coming in too hot. But yeah, it's
You
funny
still
you
waiting
brought
out
up.
for the UPS truck?
Yeah, oh, every day, dude. I'm calling TNT. Hey, is my bow there? Is my bow there? Is my bow there? We there yet? And yeah, it's just, this shipping game is just a mess right now. I mean, it's just a big waiting game. I just have to turn my brain off, so that way I'm not reminding myself that I really, really, really want
Oh,
it.
like I just reminded you.
Exactly. Like, oh crap.
Yeah, no,
No.
that RX-7 is pretty sweet, man. I didn't even bother shooting it because I was like, I've got my Hoyt right now is the Axius, so just before they came out with the Ventum. And I like the Ventum, but then I actually this year I went with, I've got a V3X coming. And that just,
Nice.
it's funny because like you went back to Hoyt, and I'm like, actually Matthews felt better for me this year. But and it was just, it all came down to the string angle for me. And there was just
Hmm.
something about the string angle on the Matthews that just felt just that much better than the Hoyt, you
Yeah.
know. And
Yeah.
I do love that you're not necessarily brand loyal. But it usually, for me, at least the last couple of years that I've been into it, it has come down to Matthews and Hoyt. And I just have to close my eyes, draw it back, and just feel it, you know, because you just, otherwise you're like, they both look great. They're both awesome bows. At that point, it's just more of a, like, when you're cold, how does it feel, you know, and you shoot them back to back. So,
Yeah.
but that's
Yeah.
awesome. Yeah, that
Yeah.
RX-7 looks pretty sweet. I couldn't touch it because I was like, yeah, I can't. It's a little out of my
Yeah.
price range.
Yeah. I walked in there and Terry's like, dude, if you shoot it, you gotta be careful. I'm like, what? Well, dude, that's what I do. Is I have to shoot the bows. Like I gotta make a video. I shot it. I'm like, freak. Well, it's a tax write-off, and maybe I'll give it away later. So I'm like, all right, dude, I'll place it right now.
You
And
won't
he's
be
like,
giving this
told
one
you.
away. That RX-7 is freaking sweet, man. And it
Well,
looks good too, you know.
yeah, yeah. It's gonna be sweet. I got that. What was it? The what they call it? Wilderness color, the green
Mm,
one. And
yep.
so I usually always get camo. I usually get QU or Sitka or something, and I always love the solid colors. I just never go with it for some reason. So finally, I was like, all right, let's buy solid color and see how it goes. But
Yeah, I was kind of bummed. If you can't tell, I like gray and black, you know, just a little bit.
hey, it's the best colors.
Right. And so, like, I went with the Kuyu, like I like the Kuyu Verde, I guess 2.0. So I went with that with black limbs on my first bow. And then this one, I was kind of bummed they got rid of the gray because I was really looking forward to getting the gray. Both Hoyt and Matthews got rid of it. And I was like, well, so I went with the granite riser with black
Oh, way
limbs on that
nice.
Matthew. Yeah. So
That's gonna look sick.
yeah, it's pretty good looking bow. I'm gonna do orange accents on it and everything. So, uh, and yes, I say orange weird. My wife picks on me about that all the time. She's like, "There's no A in orange." I'm like, "I know, but you know, it works better when you tell that the knock knock joke, right? Aren't you glad I didn't say banana? It works better." But no. But anyway, so yeah, that's awesome, man. I love your background. I love what you're doing, and I do want to kind of talk a little bit more about, like, why did you get into giving away bows? Like, you give away bows, you're always doing drawings. You're setting people up with, like, I think last year you did an at-home bow shop basically. And then the last couple of years you've been doing the flags where you give away two bows and there's a check involved. So talk a little bit more about that. Like, why did you end up doing that? Why do you do that? And and maybe disclose a little bit more information as to what exactly it is.
Yeah, yeah. So I mean, obviously giveaway. Who doesn't like, winning something? But you see these giveaways that people are doing, and it's like, how many entries do you think are going? A million entries with these big companies, 10 million entries. And you always kind of feel like a tiny little minnow in the ocean where there's no chance. Like you don't stand a chance. And so I tried to make a platform where it's like, hey, if I have the platform and the ability to make it possible to create the odds to be so much better. I think the first one I did, that I started doing was like 1 in 250 chance of winning. So you buy a decal, and the kind of the way I structured it is it would just 100% break even. I didn't make anything. I didn't profit, anything at all. It was, I would spend $2,000 on a bow, and selling $2,500 or 2,500 or sorry 250 decals at $10, I'd make 2,500 bucks, and $500 would go to expenses of everything, for shipping, for the decals, for all supplies I needed to run the website and everything. So then I would give $2,000 to a person. I'd call them up and say, hey, you won, let's order you a bow. I'd spend $2,000 setting it up, and then it just kind of started rolling a little bit more. I got that going. So then I, started making hats, and I did one that was like, I actually had a guy send me an Axius, or maybe it was a Helix. And he was like, hey dude, I just bought this bow. I got another one, but I want you to give it away. So I was like, cool. So I gave it away. I think I did like 100 entries with that, and then used the profits, since I didn't have to buy that bow, used the profits to give away another bow. And my wife's like, when are you going to make it like $1 doing this or something? And anyway, now it's to the point with the current one, the flags. So I've got a few family members in military. I've had one of my grandpas served as a vice cop in Las Vegas, undercover cop and stuff too. So I've always had a big interest in police, big interest in veterans, and a lot of respect for any first responders. So that was kind of what I geared this last one I'm doing towards. And so you buy a flag, and it's $100 entry to go into it. But there's only 500 entries for that. And it's 2 bows of any choice. So you get a bow for yourself, and then you get a bow for somebody that, it's a veteran or first responder or somebody that served you in your life. Just to try to help somebody get a friend. Cause I know a lot of vets that have a hard time, sometimes with PTSD or depression. They don't have the means to make something happen. So I just figured, I'm like, I'll use my platform as much as I can to help somebody that knows somebody that's going to need it. And then on top of that, to donate $5,000 to Wishes for Warriors. So there's kind of organization to help veterans and first responders or injured people to be able to have the opportunity to hunt. They get it all set up and guide service and everything. So I just figured as much as I can to give, and then use the remaining funds to give way more away that people don't know I have planned for. So people are like, dude, you're making like so much money. I'm like, no, it's all already spent. Like in my head, it's gone, and it's only gonna just give away as many bows as I can. And so kind of what fuels it for me is I picture myself as that 11, 12, 13-year-old kid buying my first bow and just thinking like, what or how would I have felt if somebody's like, hey dude, you just like, here's a bow, like let me help you out. Like it would just make my absolute world. And so putting myself in those shoes, I mean, how important archery is to me, I just figured as much as I can share it and help as many people as I can. That's kind of what fuels it. The last one I gave away on Christmas, some guy in Montana, I called him like 5 times and he wouldn't answer. And it was his business phone. And so it's Christmas Day. He's not going to answer. So I text him like, dude, answer your phone. He's like, who is this? I'm like, you won something. Just answer your phone. And he's like, I'm at dinner with my family. Just what? So I text like, oh, this is Haxen Hunt. You want a bow? He calls me. Wait, are you serious? I'm like, yeah. And he was just stoked out of his mind. And just having those little moments where you get to call somebody. I've had a couple winners in Texas. I've had a guy in California. I've had just all over the map. And I feel like that's just what fuels me even more. Like the content stuff's fun. The platform's fun. I don't view it as the ability to use people to make money and move forward like that. I make the videos because I like doing it. I like shooting the bows and comparing them, because when you go buy a bow, typically you go shoot them all anyway. So it's like, might as well just throw a camera in front of you if you enjoy doing that. I slightly enjoy editing, depending on the day and how long it takes. I'm no professional by any means. I do a lot of YouTube University learning how to edit stuff. But yeah, that's what I've got going on right now. And then on top of that, I guess I'll just buy another bow. Like right now I have that V3 that I'm giving away, and the odds are the best it's ever been. It's 1 in 60 chance of winning the V3. So within the flag giveaway, I'm like, all right, the next 60 people that buy a flag get a 1 in 60 chance. And then once that's given up, I'm definitely going to go buy another bow and do it again. So it's just fun. I don't know. It's just my hobby. Just, I don't know, giving stuff away. There's nothing better than calling someone up, like, yo, you just won $2,000 worth of archery equipment. So that's a lot of money. That's a lot of equipment. It's not easy to go buy a bow all the time. And so people, I don't know, feel like really enjoy it and appreciate the hopefully they see my genuine self trying to do it and not trying to make a buck off everybody. I mean, maybe one day I'll have so many entries I've gotta slim it out, but it's just running smooth so far. But
Yeah, that's awesome, dude. Yeah, and you can tell. I did kind of
oh
wonder.
shoot,
I'm
are
like,
you mute? Oh there. Oh sorry, it was
yeah,
muted for a sec.
you're good. I think there's a little bit of a lag. But yeah, no, it's interesting to me. Like you can tell you're genuine. I know you've had some comments where you're like, go ahead and stay tuned, or go ahead and what is it that you say?
Like
You're like, if you want to see
it,
this, go ahead and stay tuned or something.
oh yeah. If you want to see what I think about this, or if I take it home, go ahead and stay tuned.
Yeah,
Something
and
like that.
I think it's funny that there's always people out there that'll critique you for, and you mentioned that in one of your videos probably a year ago or something that people say that, and I'm just like it's silly, that people will critique you on that because you could tell that you're genuine. You really want to help people. You do it for a good cause, and I did kind of wonder. I'm like, how is he making money off of this? Because like I know how much this stuff costs, and I'm like doing the numbers in my head. I'm like, you're not making anything, but you're not technically
No.
a charity. Like, what the heck? Like,
it's
but
it's a lot of work
yeah,
for nothing. I mean, it's obviously not for nothing, but money wise, yeah, it's not. I'm not. I what been doing Haxen for 3-4 years, and I've pulled out. I would say, should I say my salary that I have paid myself total is like $500 because I wanted
mhm.
a RC rock crawler so bad, and so I'm like, dude, I'm just gonna pay myself and go have some fun. And so that's literally like all I paid myself in.
Yep. No, I feel you, man. And I think it's cool. I really do think it's a good thing that you're doing. Um, and I want to run some ideas by you after the podcast and see what you think about them. But as far
Yeah.
as like, my wife's the same way. She's like, you're doing this podcasting thing. Where's, when are you going to start making money? And I'm like, like, I just enjoy having good conversations and sharing things that have worked for me. And I just want to help other people. And for me,
Yeah.
that's knowledge. For you, that's, giving away a bow and making someone's day. Even though they don't want to answer their phone call when you call them a million times and things like that. But, I can tell, and I think a lot of people can tell that you're genuine and you just have that passion about archery that you want to spread to other people, and you do it in your way, and I think it's awesome. And it's not that you're just asking people to put in $10 to get in a drawing. Like, you're still giving them something. Like, you're sending decals or you're sending a flag. Like, flags aren't cheap to make, it's not cheap to ship, and
Mhm.
so you're still giving. Like, they're paying for it obviously, but it's not that you're saying give me the money so I can give one person a bow. You're like, I'm still giving you something in return, and you also might get the bow. Like, that's pretty cool setup. But
Yeah.
yeah, man, so I just wanted to kind of ask you a couple questions here to wrap up. First thing, just kind of
Yeah.
spitfire, what's your favorite memory from 2021?
2021. Well, there's a memory. I'm not sure if no, we'll share. Well, this will be the first place it's been heard. Found out my wife is pregnant, so that's going to be the ultimate number one.
Is she okay with you sharing that? Okay.
She'll have to be.
Dude, that's awesome, man. Congrats. That's a big deal.
Yeah, yeah. It's been a few years trying to make it happen, and finally, 2021, it happened. So yeah,
That's awesome, man. Congratulations. That's pretty sweet. So funny story about how you're like, oh, she'll have to be. So my when my wife and I found out that she was pregnant with our first, so I've got 5 kids. 3 of them aren't biologically mine because I'm 29 and we've got a 22-year-old. So I didn't start having kids when I was 7. Like, I just I always preface it with, like, they're like, well, why do you have to say they're not biologically yours? I'm like, because now like, you're gonna sit there and do the numbers. You're gonna be like, wait a minute, that doesn't match up. But Anyway, so when our first together, when we got the ultrasound and like we were going to Mexico or something like that. And no, it was our second. Sorry, I apologize. It was our second child. And we hadn't told anyone. And we are going to Mexico. And so like I posted them like something along the lines of the three of us are going to Mexico. And like it just and then of course we turn our phones off to get on the plane. She didn't know that I had posted that. We get to Mexico and we get Wi-Fi and we were getting blown up. And she was like, "What did you do?" And I was just, I'll never live that down. I will never live that down.
Oh, that is hilarious.
So I've learned my lesson. And we also have not had any other kids since then. But if we did, like, I will not do that. But that's awesome, dude. Congratulations. That's really awesome. You're gonna you have a little archer on your hands. You're coming out shooting.
That's right. That's right. People are like, do you hope it's a boy or a girl? I'm like, either way, they're shooting a bow and they're coming hunting, so it doesn't matter.
Yep, exactly. That's awesome. That is so cool. You're gonna have him holding the rangefinder for you, right? And like whispering
That's
to
right.
you.
That's right.
That's awesome.
Dad, it's 40 when it's 40. Really 80
he
or
took
something.
A step. 43. That's awesome. And then let's see here. So that's a really good one for 2021. Now for 2022, what are you looking forward to? What's something that you're, whether it be with Haxen hunt or in your own life? I mean, I know you guys are moving, so you've kind of brought that up. But what are you looking forward to in 2022?
2022, I've got quite a few big goals and a lot of things happening right now. Those are ones that I won't spill the beans on quite yet, but I will say there's some pretty sweet things in the works with Haxen. My wife always tells me like, "Oh, my dreams feel so small compared to yours," because I'll be like, "Yeah, it's gonna be dope. We're gonna have our helicopter and a big ranch." And my dreams, I 100% I'll own a helicopter. I love helicopters. That's just one of my other side loves and hobbies, and I've always wanted to become a helicopter pilot just for my own fun time, not for a job, but for just flying around. Anyway, sorry. But something 2022. Oh man, there's so much. I think the biggest thing is holding myself accountable to the consistency game. Consistency is key. And for 2021, I took like a year break off of Instagram. I did a few YouTube things, but I legit deleted Instagram off my phone, and Facebook, all the socials and stuff, just to kind of just settle in. I always felt like I was getting consumed by it, but at the same time, it almost put me in, I don't want to like say depression, but I always didn't feel good enough because so many people are accomplishing so many more things than me, even though I was accomplishing things that just might not have felt as big as these things. And so deleted that and spent a year just, not consistent with any content. And so 2022, coming back at it, feeling a lot better. And so that's kind of my main thing I'm stoked for, and I'm stoked to do it for myself, do it for the right reasons, not to, so to say, get famous or anything, but put the content for myself, whether 2 people see it or whether 1 million people see it. I really don't care. I just have fun doing it.
Awesome, man. I like it. So 2022, you're having a kid and you're getting a helicopter. So no, no,
we're moving quick.
Right. Yeah. So a buddy of mine that I work with at actually this company, that the shirt I'm wearing is Phorm, and his brother, they're out in Missouri. His brother's a helicopter pilot, and he's got his own personal little helicopter, and he flew around on Christmas and was dressed up like Santa and was just delivering gifts. Right. And so like I could picture you doing something like that. I really could.
Just dropping bows out of a chopper.
Right. And you have a bow and you get a bow and you get a bow. A dozen arrows for you. No, that's awesome, man. I definitely don't, that's not in my dreams, but I think that's cool. And having big dreams, like I don't have anything fancy, but I have a vision board like sitting right here. Eventually I want to get one of those cork boards where I can post pictures and stuff and visualize a little bit more. I'm not good at visualizing things like that. And so, just those constant reminders. And I think it's cool that you do have those big dreams and you can make them happen, and people, they'll talk down about speaking it into existence. But you talk about it enough, you're going to start doing it, and so that's cool. I like that. And then as far as social media, you can't, you just can't compare yourself. You can't compare your life to someone's highlight reel, which is what social media is about. And so like, that's why for me, I've kept it so raw, whether it be here on the podcast or with Instagram mainly. I don't really do much with Facebook. I've got a little group on there, but with Instagram, I want to share either funny things or things that I do with my family, but I keep it simple. Like I don't have the best lighting and I seriously just, I take enough pictures and videos as it is. I just go in and take clips of them. Like I don't pose them. We don't drive an hour to go get the fanciest picture on the salt flats or whatever. Like I just
Yeah.
do whatever I do, and that's kind of
Mhm.
the way I don't want people to think that what I do is unattainable,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
and you definitely, you're the same way. And I can get that. I just thought that maybe you weren't wanting to chat with me last year. I thought you were mad at me or something. No, but now that makes more sense. I was like,
I was dead for a year basically with any
yeah.
contact.
Yeah. And then you go and you kill a spike, which that was a cool story. And I miss a spike. I'm like, oh, like this guy. But
I got lucky. I got lucky.
yeah. Yeah. But anyway, yeah. So cool, man. Just to kind of wrap it up here, where can people find you at if they're looking to either get in on the bow giveaway, the flags, or if they just want to look at this new consistent content you're going to be putting out?
Yeah, no, yeah. My get in on any giveaways, it's just haxenhunt.com. It's my website. I've got merch on there. I've got my flags, and I usually have everything on there that explains how the giveaway is going on and how it's going live right now. So many people are like, well, how do I know if I'm entered or whatever? So if people use the code V3, because that's the bow I'm giving away right now, if they use that and it works, that means you're got a 1 in 60 chance of winning. So that's kind of how I try to keep track and let people know. I'm not very good at the online game, so it's hard to learn how to customize an email anytime a purchase goes out or whatever. So I'm learning that part. And then Instagram, just at Haxen Hunt, same thing. YouTube, Haxen Hunt, and yeah, basically that's the only places I'm at. So
Awesome, man. Well, thanks again for your time, and I love what you're doing. And yeah, I just appreciate this chat and finally getting to get you on camera and steal an hour of your day and talk about fun things and stealing that announcement about your baby. So
hey, it's gonna be a good little catch, people. I'll post that, be like, hey, the biggest announcement I've ever made is on this podcast. You got to watch it.
There you go. There you go. That's one way to draw people in. Cool, man. Well, again, I appreciate your time, and for all you guys out there, you should go check him out. He puts up some great stuff on YouTube, especially if you don't have a chance to go and review all the bows yourself. Maybe you work until the bow shop's closed or whatever it may be. He gives some good, honest, non-biased reviews on pretty much all the bows that you can get your hands on. And yeah, so go check him out. And as I always say, guys, get out, live your life, and love it. All right. Well, there's the conversation with Braxen. Hope you guys enjoyed that. Go check out his channel. I'll leave the link in the description below on YouTube and Instagram. He does awesome bow reviews, very down-to-earth guy. Go check him out. Also, like I mentioned before, I've got other companies that I work with down below. Alpen Fuel, the best, hands down, granola breakfast, lunch, dinner, snack, whatever you want to use it for, that I've had. Even if you're not in the backcountry, it's an amazing meal. Go check them out. They also sell other brands as well. If you're looking for more than granola, go check out Alpen Fuel and use the code below, that you can save some money on those other meals as well. And of course, go check me out on Instagram at red.beard.outdoors, also on Facebook. And if you would like to get into a community that believes in all three of these aspects of family, fitness, and the outdoors, go check out RedBeard's Fit Crew on Facebook. I'd love to help you out with any nutrition, health goals that you have for this year. We're still pretty new into the year. If you've fallen off the bandwagon, no big deal. It doesn't have to start January 1 every year. It starts when you want it to start. So come check me out, shoot me a message. And if you go leave a review, send a screenshot of it to my email, redbeardoutdoors, 1, @gmail.com, and I'll send you something in the mail as a token of my appreciation. So thanks again for your support and for constantly being here with me as we're growing. And have an amazing day. And of course, get out, live your life, and love it.